Folks, we are live. I don't play regular guitar. I don't guitar for nothing. I am musically disinclined. Folks, this is Gamer's Health. I am Rach Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR.
I'm Rachel Tenkar,
The spouse
the spouse,
of the bartender in
the
the
wife.
OSR. The better looking one, you know. When you see us at cons, people are like, "Oh, there's Rach. I want a hug," and it's like, there's,
Hmm.
there's Eric. Who the hell needs that crap? Sometimes, sometimes we do. So last week was a busy week in the 10-car household because there are just a lot of moving parts and pieces to the week.
Hmm. Was
Well,
it?
yeah. Well, we had we smelled something burning in the basement
Oh yeah,
on Tuesday, and when she was using the dryer, and thankfully we did not have a fire. But my father had.
they had piled just random shit behind the.
Well, they were, but the actual issue was the storage of some artwork that my sister had done some garbage diving on and thought my parents would want, but they didn't. So they just kind of stored it in the basement, leaned up against the dryer. So that meant that it got hot and
It burned.
it smoldered,
Mhm.
and that went out. But thanks to that and the activity,
Your poor Bob is trying to get us all to believe that it was mildew.
it's mildew. It's rot and
Yeah, mildew
mildew.
doesn't smoke like that.
In any case, it was a good thing because what happened is we were puttering around down there, and right next to the dryer is the hot water heater, and the tank is 18 years old. Was 18 years old. I should preface that with was. Uh, there was water on the floor. There was a slow leak that was going to become a big leak. It was rusting through.
Mm.
So, as opposed to having a flood in the basement, and opposed to waking up one morning with no hot water,
Mm.
we had the plumbers installing a new hot water heater on Wednesday morning. And apparently, it was something that a couple of my friends had happen this week on social media, and one of my uh, circle of friends
Mm.
this week. So apparently, it was a fairly common occurrence. Sucks. Oh, unexpected expenses always suck. We were also in standby pretty much all week. I'm gonna just close some background tabs because I am seeing the video is going a little slower than it should, and I am wondering if I have too many tabs open.
Yeah, it looks like.
And it's like, yo, how many tabs you got open?
I can't keep track of that, man. It overwhelms me.
And I got tabs. All right, I closed a couple of tabs. So I don't know if we've mentioned this, but our doggy's been having some.
Yeah, we mentioned to them last week that
Okay.
she's been having some troubles with her back, and that we are waiting for neurology.
The vet we were trying to get to, uh, never was calling us back. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna pass on to the coordinator. So finally,
And I
Rachel.
guess the coordinator was just too busy coordinating her smoke break with her lunch break.
Oh, you got to
And,
coordinate with something.
so I just said, fuck it, I'm checking out some other options. And so we have an appointment for this Thursday for her to see neurology.
Yeah, out in Brooklyn. So listen, she's a love. She is
Yes.
a sweetheart, and you want your pets to be happy and healthy and long lived. So she will be 11 years old this year.
Yeah, in May.
And now, by the way, folks, I am horrible with birthdays. I am horrible with ages. I gotta double check the math, but with Donka, I don't have to check the math out.
Well,
What?
they they'll say, "Oh, what's Donka's date of birth?" Or
Right? How old?
around how old, and I'll be like 5/23 of 2014.
Well, I couldn't tell you the date.
Yeah.
How? Tom, welcome. However, I could tell you that we were notified at our first North Texas.
Yes, because that would have made her maybe 3 weeks old at that
Yeah.
point.
So
And yeah.
so
The other family said they couldn't take her.
yeah. So I remember it was 2014. So that's how I know. I would be like spring 2014. If I was asked, I wouldn't know the exact date.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. We don't. We're lucky. I'm lucky. I remember my wife's birthday and my anniversary, and that keeps
Well,
me out of
that's why
trouble.
we celebrated the whole month.
Month. Rach, it's your birthday month. Oh my God, your birthday month's coming up soon too.
Mm-hmm.
So Rachel's like, yeah, I get gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I get the gifts. Gosh darn it. So, well, yeah, I actually did we have any doctor's appointments this week?
No, I think the last doctor's appointment was Dr. Tablet's, where I saw the hand man, and so he's basically like an orthopedist who specializes in hands. My regular ortho had referred me to him because I was having and still have some pain like here and in the thumb joint, and so he explained it to me. It's it's another arthritis, possibly like tendon, the Decavan tendon. I guess that's what they call it, Decavan syndrome or some shit.
Some shit. Some random shit.
Yeah, so he gave me information on both of it, but because like when he was like pressing, my pain really came a lot more from in here, and so he was like, I think it's arthritis. So he gave me some, how do you call it, splint, like not splint,
Night. They don't like night splints.
they're not like night
Well,
splint
no,
because
they
it
aren't.
doesn't have
That's right.
the metal inside. They're just basically compression splint, so that I can wear it
When you work out.
when I work out, like for my yoga or for my strength training.
So now this coming week we have appointments. I got my podiatrist. The doggy has her neurologist. Rach, you've got 2 doctor's appointments.
Yeah, I have the weight loss, the weight management clinic, and so that's a couple of appointments on Wednesday.
Right.
And then the other one is for primary care on Friday.
So it's a busy week.
Yeah.
Ed Laser, welcome. By the way, Ed, yes, yes. I have started. I have started cleaning. Rach has been a great help. There's a whole everything to the left and to the right of this screen is getting moved, and it's a mess. And I didn't do a lot right before the show because I figured I'd maybe get my chair in if I did that. But I'm looking for something for Ed, and it's in this room. It's in this side of the room.
Oh, really?
Oh, I just gotta find it. So I think I know where it is. Quite likely in the corner that I gotta dig out. So
under everything, huh?
Under everything, and I'll be able to use.
We'll make sure that we get it.
And I'll be able to use a larger desk that we had purchased prior that wasn't going to fit with the old cat tree. But since we're moving stuff around and organizing,
yeah, we dismantled the cat tree and got it out.
Yes, and
they took it off.
They took it all.
Good.
Tammy, good to see you both.
Hello.
Very ninja, all in black. Yeah, I learned to wear a lot of black and navy blue when I was an admin sergeant, and that meant work casual. So Rach could tell you that I own a lot of golf shirts,
Yeah.
and I need the ones that are wicking because otherwise it just
I've always enjoyed black.
yeah, it's thinning. It makes me svelte. There's no more cat tree to the. You're not gonna see a cat's paw come along and whack me. But her tree right now is in Rachel's yoga room. It's a smaller tree, but she loves it. She right away when that was, she's like, oh, this is special. This is mine. Goody goody. So
It's just a little stressful for her when she sees like my foot go up and swing, or to come forward from down dog.
She likes watching Rachel's yoga. Right? She's going to actually be disappointed when the tree is here, but it will give her access to looking out the window during the day.
Well, you have to clean off the couch for her. You have to clean yourself off the couch so that this way she has a place to sit when I do it.
But she likes to look out this window specifically.
Unless we want to clear a little bit of a shelf for her somewhere. I don't know.
But she likes the window behind this computer screen because it is the view of the backyard. It is bird central, and she doth love it. Dawn, welcome. And no, I don't become a cat tree, although my desk has now become her replacement to the cat tree when she's out here. And I see her coming, and the first thing I do is I take the keyboard, but then I have to let her rub her head up against it because she still needs to claim it. And if I do anything but lightly pet her head and scratch it, I get a hiss, and she gets pissed at me and walks away. God, I'm so glad I married this woman because I don't get treated like that. Like, what did I do wrong? You should know. I don't know.
I'll tell you what was wrong in the top of my lungs.
You're stupid. No, one thing Rach will never call me is stupid. No. She will complain about the odors that may vacate my butt when I take my nighttime medicine. That first 30 minutes can sometimes be
definitely.
Yeah. I take the same. It's the sodium bicarbonate.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, I see. That's what. See what happens is when I.
Oh, isn't it sodium bicarbonate? Is like that gas thing. It's like gas X.
Yeah, so what it is.
And so it makes the gas bubbles join and just become bigger and vacate.
So like, it's not an issue in the morning because there's no food in me. But in the evening, I gotta give Rachel warning sometimes.
Yeah.
Tammy, we had to change our big bedroom around, and signal loss.
Do you have that?
Yeah, it's right here. We had to change our big bedroom around and then our den living room and switch our guest room to a toddler room.
Oh, to accommodate the little yes, that's a massive change. You were done raising your kids, and then here comes the little princess.
It's like round 2. So, hey, Hector, welcome. You got a new puppy today. Congratulations.
Congratulations. What kind?
Rach wants to know. Listen, the guy's just like, you got a puppy.
Puppy.
Mini female schnauzer.
Oh.
I do like the minis. Here, all right. So here I like minis. Miniature Dachshund, miniature whatever. I want a mini dog. Because I want a dog with the weather is bad. I use the pad.
Yes.
So, and I prefer a female because they will squat and pee as opposed to put their leg up and I don't.
Mark.
Yeah, I don't need that. Tina, welcome.
Hello.
Happy Saturday Eve. Getting ready to spring forward tonight. We totally forgot about the
Yes.
spring forward.
Tell your mom said something.
And then I went, I mean, honestly, I used to really pay attention when I was working because,
Oh, sure.
you know, you got one less hour of sleep. You had to
Mhm.
accommodate for it because you didn't have like a Amazon device that will automatically change. Your watch is an Apple Watch, and your phone automatically changes. Remember back in the old day with analog, nothing changed automatically. You had to take care of that before
Yes.
you went to sleep. And you're like, ugh. So of course, my my longest stint working midnight. I worked midnights long enough, mind you, to have to work midnights on the day, the longest day when you got the extra hour, and you don't get paid for that extra hour, by the way, in the NYPD. You don't. You just eat it. It's like it's just, you know, Groundhog Day.
Oh, and so you were there long enough to get it back.
So the idea is you'll get it back at the you know, in springtime. Well, no, because I was off, so I never got it. I never got it back. I never got that shortened day. The bastards, the bastards. But as a side note, in 9 days, right, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
In 9 days, I will have. I call that my retirement date, even though it's not my official retirement date, because that's the day I
Stopped working.
stopped working, and then ran my time for literally 4 months to July 17th, and then I was totally off the books. So, and I've had two giant schnauzers, a male that was about 140 pounds, and a female that was about 70. They are both. Oh, yeah. They are both wonderful dogs.
Aww.
You know that. Listen, if you need a lot of property for that.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with big dogs because my parents always had like property and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I moved out on my own, several years after that, I got a Doxy.
Well,
I always loved dogs, and somehow I just landed on. I need a small dog, but I want one with just like a lot of heart, you know.
yeah.
And yeah, just dachshunds seem to be.
They seem to be
type, yeah. And then it was funny because, you know how your friends can sometimes. I had chosen my Doxy, and my friend came over because she was dying to see her and meet her. So I bring her down the stairs, and so my friend's going, "Oh my God, she looks just like you," because she had little tiny legs, and she was a short dog with a long. I don't have a long body, but I'm just a short
remember
lady.
she was a short dog. I know. She had a Bronx attitude.
But she was very Bronx.
She had a Bronx attitude.
She would go into a place and just take over the water, take over the food, and boot everybody out, however big they were.
Yeah,
like
I'm here.
Wise.
I'm here. Make way. So I remember this was probably when Rach was convalescing her right before we got married. Rach had to what you broke a foot and sprained an ankle or some crap like that.
Broke the left, sprained the right.
So here's my mother. My mother's like, you know, taking care of Rach, the invalid, and I was walking the dog, and we're in front of the house, and we had neighbors around the block that used to let their dog out
off the leash
because they didn't want to walk him, go out and take a shit somewhere. So this dog comes charging. This dog was about, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds. And it's coming full. And it's like, and this little Dachshund stood in between me and that dog coming up. And I went, and the other one was like, I'm out of here. Now, our little girl now, she's a sweetheart. But if a dog came charging at her, she'd be like, Daddy, pick me up.
Just lift me.
just lift me and make me safe, please. whereas Chloe was
Yeah,
like,
she's a little more timid
yeah.
than Chloe.
Although there was one animal that scared her. My mother's cat, Fritzy.
Oh,
She peed herself one time.
yeah, she did. Oh.
She was like, "Not
Because he would
again!"
chase her, and then she'd like
Yeah,
be so scared. That poor Chloe.
but they were. The funny thing is, they both had similar personalities. Otherwise,
Well, yeah, Fritzy was a jealous wreck.
oh yeah, he was just like, "Why does everybody love this dog?"
He never forgave me when I brought the dog over the first time. He was like, "Not my friend ever again."
You're dead to me.
Yes,
Dead.
that's what he said.
Dead, I tell you, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and let's see. We had to fix the internal garden. One of the hoses for the three towers wasn't working. We fixed it, but one of the pepper plants, the one that had like 16 peppers on it, uh, died. So I gotta make peppers in the next day or so.
Yeah.
Gotta cut them up and remind me tomorrow when I make breakfast.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and we can incorporate it into salad at dinner.
yeah. So I think we will start today's topic early because
Sounds
today's
good.
topic is actually a long one. There's a lot to this one. So let me. All right. Let's see if there's a. All right. Well, we're gonna read it, but we have it up on the screen for those of you who have magnifying glasses. We were talking. We were asked about basically medical marijuana and use for treatment for depression, anxiety. And you know what? Listen, medical marijuana, the legality of that varies in the United States, state by state.
So yeah, like certain states, it really varies what conditions are covered under medical marijuana. Um, like places like like Pennsylvania, they do cover PTSD and anxiety. I think New York does. Um, things like HIV, certain chronic pain. Um, uh, let's see. But there's a lot of other conditions that might not be covered. Um, and something also about medical marijuana that is difficult, like THC wise. Um, THC being the psychoactive
Right.
ingredient in cannabis. So when you smoke, THC is the thing that makes you feel euphoric, and but there's also CBD, which it is something that can help in other ways too. They I guess they work the similar receptors, like because we have our own endogenous cannabinoids in our brains. We have our endogenous cannabinoid system, and so it does have its effects. But the unfortunate aspect of it is that for a lot of different psychiatric illnesses, um, there are a lot of substances that are not legal in the U.S. That are, on the controlled substances
List.
list,
At
and
least federally.
yes, and that's the whole issue. When something is not legal federally, it can be very difficult for proper uh, like very high quality research can be difficult to obtain because of the legal status of it.
Right.
Because what it is that you want to be able to study things like okay, so what is the concentration of CBD in a particular strain of marijuana, or the level of THC in a particular strain of marijuana? Because
Your street dealer doesn't know.
He's not gonna know.
Your legal shop isn't gonna
Your
know.
legal shop may have some ideas,
Yeah.
but here in New York we have so many shops
That's Don's question.
and they're illegal shops.
Well, here's the thing: marijuana is legal, but most of the shops are illegal.
So the government, the New York State government, approved, I think, 250 licenses when they first started to roll this out a few years
close
ago.
To 10,000 shops.
Yeah, so. And like it's weird because it's like no man's land. NYPD is like, that's not for us.
Oh no, it's the sheriff's department that enforces it.
Yeah, and then it's like somebody, and then they're like, oh well, no, this and that. So it kind of gets lost, but they're working on like closing down the ones that are not licensed now.
But it's like whack-a-mole.
Yeah, because there's a lot less now than it used to be. We don't have the 2 out on Queens Boulevard anymore.
Oh, we don't.
I don't think so. The big one closed.
All right.
And
so Tammy has a question.
Yeah.
What's the difference between CBD and marijuana? And I think I'll step
CBD
into this.
CBD is an ingredient inside. It's a chemical ingredient inside marijuana, like a natural.
It's not what gets you high.
It's another substance that is in cannabis naturally, just like THC is. But just THC is the psychoactive one that will create euphoria, or maybe not euphoria, but panic in some people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
it
the
really
reason,
depends.
And
that's one of the things that is a concern too. Because since you can't always tell like what's the strain or how much THC is in this, without proper controls, which, the government isn't really going to let us have those proper controls to be able to say
right.
What works best. Because like in the little bit of research that's been done, especially like between with anxiety, they find that lower levels of THC is more helpful than higher. So it's always like start low and then work up from there. But it's difficult too because you have to look at people's family history.
Right.
And sometimes families aren't always very open about situations where somebody in their family has experienced psychosis. Because one of the things about THC is that if somebody has a family history of like thought disorders like schizophrenia, then THC is very likely to bring that out, can really bring that out and accelerate something like schizophrenia to be more of a crisis for somebody. It can also cause somebody like to just experience like cannabis related anxiety, which can last months on end. It can last hours, just as a consequence of intoxication, but they just don't always know.
Right. So that's the reason why we are dealing with CBD tonight, because dealing with THC and marijuana, there's a lot of variables that we can't touch on, and those are legal variables. They are biological variables, how your body reacts to it.
Yeah.
It's the biology of the fact that marijuana is a plant. And again, like Rich was saying, different strains, different sources, all have different potency. So if you're getting CBC through a legitimate CBD lab,
mm-hmm.
then you'll have an idea. They'll tell you
they'll tell you the dosage of it, like how much of it is in their preparation.
So Injun Joe says, I can say that smoking high THC cannabis long term can have adverse effects.
Yes.
Like cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. Hyperemesis syndrome.
Oh, okay.
Puking that won't stop due to smoking weed all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why that's the reason. There's a lot of reasons, but like CBD was legal in New York State before
Yes.
actual marijuana was decriminalized. So we figured, you know, we're gonna go for the look. So goes a low THC strain
Right,
for new people.
and even
Recommended.
in the anxiety, the few anxiety studies that have been done, the common denominator was that um, nobody reported a bad reaction to CBD, and that people reported relief from CBD. I mean, relief from anxiety with CBD at very large rates in those studies. So to go with the safer situation
Right.
was on our mind.
So CBD, we have a list of 10 things of the potential health benefits of CBD. And I know it's small on the screen, but I think it's more important that we keep up with the comments.
Yeah,
So,
that's strange. It used to go big.
well, it's not going to go much bigger because even if let's see, how
Because you
much
used
big?
to be able to just
That's
put it,
as big as we're going to get, unless I just make it the full screen
maybe maximize it so
and
that
take us off.
they can
Okay,
see.
all right,
And they don't need to see us
all
cha cha
right,
cha.
cha cha cha.
Cha cha chaing.
So, pain relief. Okay, uh, there's actual studies. 2018 study from the Frontiers in Pharmacology found that CBD was effective in reducing chronic pain in animal models and some human studies. So let me go to the next page. So applications commonly used for conditions such as joint pain, muscle soreness, post-surgical pain. Tropical products,
Topical.
topical products. I used to. I had a couple years ago. I got a hell of a deal on CBD capsules, and I'll be honest with you, my back never felt better than when I was taking CBD one today. Really, really took the edge off. So that's my own experience.
Anecdotal. Yeah.
Yes,
And that's the thing, so much of the experience that we talk about is like that it's not coming through research as much as our own experiences, like when we talk
right.
about CBD and THC and things like that, because it's not um
So now it can be used as an anti-inflammatory.
that's great.
It has been shown to reduce inflammation by inhibiting pro-inflammatory
Cytokines.
cytokines. There you go, and interacting with the immune cells via the ECS. Again, there's another study on that. Not going to go into the study, but it can help with rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, and other immune disorders.
You could help me with my Hashimoto
There you go,
because I have my joint pain too from that.
Yeah,
And definitely inflammation. So
again, I mean, I haven't. It was a deal that I could not pass up. I think it was through 13 deals.
I am gonna look
Anxiety and stress reduction.
and see.
Because this is really one of the topics that our initial questioner asked us about. Now, CBD may influence serotonin receptors in the brain, which plays a role in mood regulation, and it also appears to modulate the stress response by reducing cortisol levels.
And it also works that CB1 and 2 receptor, um, which helps with the post traumatic stress disorder too. Um, I think they figured out that when people have like intrusive memories and things like that, that they're sort of like um, coming from those triggered with those like kind of brain chemicals. And so if they can work um, those brain chemicals, that they can reduce the experience of intrusive memories.
So now, and when you look in it's like we included the evidence that we found through our. I use Grok for this, but I'm including the evidence aspect because it can show you that for the anxiety and stress reductions, it was a 2015 review and a 2019 study.
Mhm.
We are in 2025. This stuff is not being until the federal government
Until the federal government until Trump says, like, we're making cannabis legal, which he has talked about, or
at least not at least change the schedule.
At least change the schedule exactly so that this way, it can be studied more appropriately, and more controlled.
So applications used for generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, social anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and stress-related insomnia. Actually, I think I slept deeper too when I was taking CBD.
Yeah, I think I need to work on my deep sleep. I don't get enough. So I'm going to be doing some research and ordering some stuff. But you have to give them your credit card because PayPal won't.
Yeah, PayPal. And here's the thing: you can't order it on Amazon. Amazon will sell you.
They'll sell you hemp oil or hemp
gummies
products,
and
that's different.
It isn't the same. It doesn't do the same. It literally isn't the same.
It doesn't carry the CBD.
No, Engine Joe does make a point. He goes, it helps with anxiety, but if you're prone to it and you run low.
Yes.
Some people
which makes you be like, oh, hey, that reminds me of addiction,
Yeah. But actually, when it comes to other addictions, it's an interesting thing that we found out. I didn't know. Improved sleep. I was just mentioning this. CBD's actually, I should have told Grok to talk right.
Anxiolytic.
Thank you. And calming effects may promote relaxation and improve sleep quality. May also influence sleep cycles by interacting with the ECS and reducing REM sleep disturbances. Now, again, you're looking at this, and the studies are from 2017 and 2019. So, again, I would love to see more recent studies.
I would love to see that.
But it's used with insomnia, sleep apnea, and restless leg syndrome. Higher doses may be more sedative, while lower doses may promote wakefulness. Now, that's interesting.
That's really cool.
Yes, Tammy. Hemp is different. Seriously, that is not clear when they advertise. No, it isn't.
Right. Because they're trying to make you believe that it's CBD.
We've got 1 million milligrams of pure hemp. Okay.
Ain't gonna do what you want it to, but
those milligrams and my wash line. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It ain't helping. Seizure reduction.
That's really interesting.
And actually I had heard as a cop, I remember back in the late 90s when we were doing uniform narcotics, and when heroin and crack were receding and we were focusing on marijuana, I remember we arrested one guy for weed, and he did mention that he was prone to seizures, but so long as he had a joint a day, he hadn't had seizures.
That's wild.
So I was like, dude, I can't guarantee you'll be out in time for your next day. I can't. And you really can't tell Central Booking to expedite. This guy's gonna, and we couldn't tell Central Booking he was prone to seizures.
No.
Because if you did,
they'd make you take him to the hospital.
Yep.
Even though he went.
Well, no, but we left it up to him. And told him the facts. Listen, if you tell them that you're prone to seizures, you will be sent to the hospital. He goes, if I get sent to the hospital, I don't see a judge. You won't see a judge until you get released from the hospital. He goes, Yeah, I don't have seizures.
Yeah, that's so weird. Even though it's like not medically imminent that he's seizing right now, or well, it could be because if he was going to cop, you needed to.
Yeah, they don't want to be responsible.
Yeah.
So CBD's exact mechanism for reducing seizures is not understood, but likely involves modulation of neuronal excitability and interaction with ion channels as receptors in the brain.
That's pretty amazing.
Now, this is interesting. The most robust evidence for CBD's efficacy comes from its use in treating epilepsy.
Yes.
The FDA approved Epidiolex, a CBD-based drug, in 2018 for 2 rare forms of epilepsy. Clinical trials showed significant reductions in seizure frequency. Applications primarily used for epilepsy and seizure disorders, with ongoing research into its effects on other neurological conditions. That is eye-opening. Because nothing. The first time you see somebody have a seizure is scary as all hell.
Oh yeah.
Neuroprotection. CBD's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties may protect neurons from damage, and it may also enhance neuroplasticity and reduce excitatonicity. Neuronal overstimulation. Indian Joe, the so-called CBD candies or gummies are a waste of money. A lot of people pop them trying to get them to work and then get sick. Yeah, I when I was taking the CBD capsules, it was different than when I tried the gummies.
I don't know that I ever took capsules.
Yeah, I used to have them at the sink all the time. Now this one has some more recent studies for neuroprotection. Journal of Alzheimer's Disease 2020 and Translational Psychiatry 2021 suggests that CBD may have neuroprotective effects on conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. Animal studies show promise reducing brain damage after stroke or traumatic brain injury. Wow.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
Applications investigated for neurodegenerative diseases, traumatic brain injury, and age-related cognitive decline.
Decline.
You don't just, it's not by design that you decline. Mood disorders and depression. Now, this is a big one because, let's be honest, self-medicating via alcohol is something that many people do when they are upset and depressed.
Oh yeah, and it does nothing but intensify it.
Right.
Because it's a central nervous system depressant.
Yes.
Marijuana is not necessarily like it's its own category. Like it's not a stimulant necessarily. It's not a depressant. It can go many different directions.
So CBD's interaction with serotonin receptors and its potential to enhance. Okay, Rach, you take that word.
Oh, endocannabinoid signaling.
Okay, thank you. May improve mood and emotional regulation. So again, we're looking at studies that were in 2018, and again, human studies are limited, but anecdotal reports and small trials indicate potential benefits.
Yeah.
And again,
yeah, it's like there's a lot of things that like they want to study how it impacts mental health issues like anxiety and depression.
yes.
Things like mushrooms, things like MDMA. They study or they want to bring back and study some more because in the beginning of using some of those things, they saw that in very micro doses it could be helpful. But something to bear in mind is that it's not really for us to kind of self-medicate with those things. or even our antidepressants, but to be able to work on things in therapy too. Like there are other therapies, um, your CBT, your kind of behavioral therapy, immersion therapy, things like that for anxiety, depression as well for the CBT. But, you know, being able to, um, like learning how to deal with some of the symptoms and learning how to lessen some of the symptoms through learning different skills like grounding exercises and things like that are important to remember. It's not just let me take this medicine.
Right. Well, they even say that with
Yeah.
applications used as a complementary approach
Yeah.
for depression, seasonal affective disorder, and mood instability. So it's not like the cure all. It's part of your toolbox. It's something that you add to your toolbox
Hmm.
and could help depending on your circumstance. But it isn't a fix on its own. Now
Right.
this one I did not know of. I was surprised to see this, but maybe I shouldn't have been. Skin health. CBD's anti-inflammatory, and by the way, the anti-inflammatory is probably why my back was feeling better.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties may reduce acne, redness, and irritation. It may also regulate sebum production in the skin. The study on this, though, is from 11 years ago, which again is I can't repeat this enough.
Yeah, I should have been using that after radiation
Yeah,
or after surgery and that.
found in skincare products for acne, psoriasis, eczema, and general skin hydration. I just dropped the magnet. So, and when you're looking at that, if my personal belief is that here I'm going to put on my conspiracy hat, and I'm not a marijuana user, but I believe that it's on a schedule where it is because it could, in theory, be a very inexpensive
Yes.
a way to treat a
Hmm.
lot of different illnesses, and the pharmaceutical companies can't make their money off it.
Yes. It's
Sir,
probably been like a successful thing to use in different ways for generations, like for
yes,
yeah. Um and then, it just got pushed down
yep.
because of like drug control policy and that kind of stuff and pharmaceuticals.
And now this is interesting from Engine Joe. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Oddly enough, cannabinoid can store in your fat cells,
Yes.
which is why sometimes you will get a re-high when exercising.
Oh.
Sometimes this can be bad, so stay hydrated.
Mm.
That's
That's really good
good advice
advice, yeah.
and a good warning for people.
Yeah, because it does. And that's the reason why it stays, that's why you hold the positive toxicology for so long.
Yeah. CBD may lower blood pressure. This is cardiovascular health, and I didn't even know this.
Yeah, this is
So
exciting.
little background. When I was taking CBD, my sister was like, "Oh, I read somewhere that CBD is not good for your heart." Well, apparently, evidence shows that a single dose of CBD reduced resting blood pressure, and the blood pressure responds to stress in the healthy volunteers. Animal studies suggest potential benefits for heart disease and stroke recovery.
Hmm.
Okay, so it apparently has antioxidant properties that could protect blood vessels. Applications investigated for hypertension,
Uh,
atherosclerosis. Yeah, I
Atherosclerosis.
can't say it. And heart disease prevention. Although more human research is necessary.
Which is true of all of it.
All of it, because it's
Yeah.
not being done.
Yeah.
Addiction and substance use disorders. Now, this is one that I was surprised to see, and
Right. I'm not surprised because well, the detox I worked in, the guy that owned it, he was really considering bringing in some kind of like marijuana to help people through like really bad like opioid detox, and you know it was just like never possible because of the federal laws, um
Right.
and so yeah. And of course, like, me at the time, I'm like, oh no, man, we can't have them change deck chairs on the Titanic. But really,
You know,
it can really soften that landing.
it may reduce cravings and withdrawal symptoms by
Yeah.
modulating dopamine and serotonin pathways and reducing stress responses. Uh, so now this is interesting, and I'm going to bring it back to gaming after this. But a 2019 study in the American Journal of Psychiatry found that CBD reduced cue-induced cravings and anxiety in individuals with heroin use disorder. Similar effects have been observed in studies on nicotine and alcohol addiction, and it's explored as a tool for managing opioid, nicotine, and alcohol addiction.
Hmm.
So, um, bring it back to the present here. Uh, Listen, it's we talked about it last week, right? We lost Ernie Gygax,
Yeah.
and Ernie was very open about his addictions and about his issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the things that Ernie was pretty open about is that when he kicked the alcohol, he was still smoking the weed, marijuana. And it's quite possible, listen, me as somebody who's not an addict said, oh, it's just replacing one thing with the other. But studies have shown,
But
according
it
to
did
this,
reduce the harm
it reduced the harm.
because alcohol is a very, very damaging substance on your body.
Right.
Like, which is the reason why I don't drink it nearly as much as I used to.
No.
Because just the studies I've seen, you know, there's a high um, risk of developing cancer, from
Right.
prolonged.
Right. And then, of course, you have like studies that I read, one of my cardiologists read and shared, and this is after I had my heart failure.
Yeah.
And I was like, Doc, I haven't had any alcohol in months, but I'd like to have some wine. He goes, oh, well, you can have a glass or two with dinner or whatever daily, red wine. And he stressed that, by the way. He's like,
Mm.
red wine. I'm like, well, yeah, I don't like that white stuff. It's too sweet. And he's like, because red wine has what do they call them?
Tannins?
Tannins and other stuff that is heart healthy in moderation.
Oh, sorry. The
Yeah, I don't remember either. I wasn't prepared.
flavonoids
For whatever. But listen, even with all of this stuff, all right, what is the key word?
moderation.
Moderation. All right. Whatever you're doing, whatever it is, when it goes from some people get high on exercise, and that is their escape, and that is that's how they get their body going and their mind escaping.
Mm-hmm.
Moderation, okay, all the stuff, even with CBD, and again, we're only today talking about the CBD aspect. We're not talking about THC. We're not talking about marijuana itself, because again, legalities depend on your state. I'm not here giving advice on that, and I'm just presenting what we found
Mm-hmm.
on the internet, and we like to respond to inquiries from our listeners, our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
We like to provide material that they request, that you request.
Definitely.
So if you can find me on social media, I'm on Facebook as Rach Tenkar. I don't think there's any others. I'm on Twitter as Tenkar, Discord Tenkar. Email us at tenkars.tavern@gmail.com. If there's something that you want us to cover, if you think that
Mhm.
something that we'll go through the week and we'll just bounce things off each other, and then usually Friday and Saturday we're like, what are we going to talk about?
Hey, a condition that you might struggle with,
Yeah,
or
but only you all know what's important to you. But if it's
yeah,
important to you, odds
it's
are
important to us.
it's going to be important to others.
Hmm.
So I really do thank you all for being with us on this journey.
Thank you.
It keeps us on the straight and narrow, so to speak. It makes us accountable to ourselves and accountable to you. And I wouldn't want to be part of any other community but this one.
Too right.
Yeah, and Joe, people need access to cannabis. Bottom line, it may not
Yeah.
be for everyone, but
Yes.
it helps a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, like I said, when I was in the late '90s, my unit was a uniform narcotics unit, and you know, every type of illicit substance has a certain culture attached to it, a certain expectation when you're
Yeah.
arresting somebody. When you were arresting somebody who was buying crack, they were going to be different than somebody who was buying heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, when we had to switch to the marijuana people, and had to, literally came down from up above.
Mm.
It's like, no, yeah, crack's drying up, heroin's drying up. Now you got to address the sales of marijuana. It was usually on the street or being pitched from a window.
Yeah.
Okay, that's. I never had an asshole that I arrested for marijuana. I arrested people for heroin and crack that wanted to fight. The marijuana people were generally like, "You're kidding me, officer." I go, "No, I'm not kidding you." All right.
Right. It was like, it's really that serious?
Yeah, it's like, dude, I'm sorry, and I'm not talking about the illegal storefronts that were selling like marijuana out of like the fake deli.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the actual users.
Yeah.
They were not your criminal element.
No, they were probably often middle class people,
Yeah,
that worked regular jobs, but weren't in jobs maybe that, you know,
yeah,
you had to test periodically, like a public service thing or whatever,
yeah. Uh, Ed says cannabis is very common here in Oregon. It's generally
Yeah,
accepted, and
sure.
you can often smell it even in public. You can smell it
Yeah.
a lot here, but you know what? I will say
The
this.
weirdest thing is when you smell it like in a roadway, like
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the expressway.
that scares the hell out of me. But I'm going to tell you something that I've noticed over the last 6 months or so. I smelled a lot less,
That's true.
and I think it's because
Right. We don't really smell it the same way, like going by
yeah,
the house. I don't know
yeah.
whether it's winter or.
It used to be times I couldn't go out in my backyard without getting overwhelmed by it. And I think as Indian Joe also pointed out earlier, I didn't get to your comment, but the weed that's coming out of dispensaries, the marijuana. If you were a marijuana user when I was doing my narcotics work in the late '90s, early
Mm-hmm.
aughts, it is night and day in potency, night and day in
Right.
what you're gonna
It's
get.
yes, yes.
You know,
Because of the hydroponics, because of the botany
yeah, and I
know
remember
how.
the first time they got somebody with hydro,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that was it, and it was they were selling it because it was hydro in a test tube.
Okay.
So they got it in a test tube.
Uh-huh,
They didn't
uh-huh.
get like a bag of shake. They got it in a test tube so you could see it. So they
And
wanted
now
to, they wanted to,
it's been late for a long
yeah,
while. The Afghan Kush or OG Kush.
yeah, yes, the devil's lettuce. Injun Joe is legal for medical use in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, welcome. And Jocelyn says hi.
Hi.
So, like I said, folks, if you have something that you want us to cover, we're willing to cover pretty much any and every topic, and it doesn't have to be necessarily medical. If there's something that you really, it could be an exercise. Maybe you want Rich to talk about yoga. I don't know. Let us know. And then Joe, yeah, it's a world difference in potency. In England,
Yeah.
they used to mix their weed with tobacco to make a spliff. Well, yeah, they used to always, get the cigars to make theirs here.
The Vanilla Dutch Masters.
Yes.
Or raspberry if they were lucky.
Yeah, the officers won't know we're smoking weed. Didn't care. Until I was told to care, I didn't care.
Yep.
They were not bad people.
No.
And here I'll tell one quick story. I arrested this one guy, and as I'm arresting him because we got him for the hand to hand, he's like, "Officer, I'm not even buying it for myself," and he was a very well. We worked the South Bronx. He wasn't South Bronx. I'm like, "Man, where are you from?" He goes, "I'm from Yonkers." I go, "What the hell are you doing down here in the South Bronx?" He goes, "Want the truth?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want the truth." He goes, I'm buying it for my girlfriend." I'm like, "You kidding me?" He goes, "No." Well, it doesn't change the law. It's still,
Right.
So I bring him back to the house, and I'm in the station house. We're processing him. Reese knows his story, and so I'm like, I was go to the guy. Listen, do you need to make any notifications? Do you need to make a phone call? He goes, "Oh, yeah. My girlfriend. Well, where does she work?" Well, she worked out of the city, so I couldn't use the phone in the processing room. Wouldn't make long distance phone calls. So I was like, "All right, shit. I'm gonna have to step out to use my cell phone." By the way, back when cell phones didn't usually work in a stone building, a cement building,
Right.
like a city building. So I go. So she worked for Sony. She was an executive. She was a vice president. She had her own office, and I've got to go through the phone tree, and I'm calling, and I'm saying like, "Yo, I'm a friend of Dennis. I'm a friend of Dennis. I'm a friend of Dennis. I'm looking for so and so. I'm a friend of Dennis. I'm looking for so and so." And then finally, I get so and so. She's like, "Hello, you are?" I go, yeah, I'm Officer Stina, 41 Precinct, NYPD. Oh my God. Do you know why I'm calling? He was buying it for me. I was like, I understand that. He told me the same thing. I go, listen,
Oh.
I go, nothing I can do. He's been a gentleman. I'm going to do what I can do to expedite all this. But listen, you owe him big time. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to probably spend 24 to 48 hours in his worst place of his life. You owe him big time. When he calls for pickup, you better be there. She goes, yeah, tell him I love him. I was like, all right, whatever. Click. Go inside, and now remember, he wasn't the only person we arrested. We arrested
the cells have other people.
There's about a half dozen other guys and two women cuffed at the outside of the cells, and I'm like, yeah, I called, I let her know, and he goes, what did she say? She said, she's sorry. That's all she said. Yeah. What did she say? Anything else? So I'm like, dude, all right. She told me to tell you she loves you. Dude, your girlfriend loves you. He got his ass busted. That being said, when I did get down to central booking, I did try to put in a good word with the processing officers, but oh God, I felt for him. Didn't really need to be there. Engine Joe, yeah, in late 90s, weed was a mixed bag. Literally, people would stomp on it and thin it out with oregano.
Yeah.
Or spray low quality weed with Raid.
Yes, that we heard about a lot in the Bronx.
Yep, nasty stuff. Twigs, pebbles.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember we used to get a lot of shake, a lot of stems when we would arrest people in the South Bronx. Until we had a spot that sold hydro. And we had a spot that sold hydro. People would drive in from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Upstate New York, Connecticut, because they had hydro. Yes, weed should not be federally illegal. Listen. I would be happy enough at this point to change the scheduling of it.
Yeah.
It is scheduled like it's I don't know, like fucking fentanyl.
Yes.
And it's not.
Wait, didn't they reduce the schedule?
Did they reduce it? For a while, it was like fentanyl.
For a long, long time, since the early 70s,
Yeah.
it was a category. It was Schedule 1.
Yeah.
But I think it's Schedule 3 now.
Again, I'm going to stick to my belief. My tinfoil. I should buy a tinfoil hat for these times. My tinfoil hat belief that this scheduling of marijuana is because they are afraid that something is inexpensive and easily grown. People could grow their own medicine in their yard, or in a pot in their kitchen, and something that you could do that cheaply and that inexpensively could have a lot of healing power. And I think that scares them.
Yes.
But that's just what I think. You can tell us what you think.
Please help us know what you think.
Yes. And thank you all for being with us on this journey.
Yes.
I really do appreciate it.